If you're working on a manga, comic, or webtoon project, your main character is probably getting most of the attention, but your side characters shouldn't be ignored. A good side character makes your world feel real and believable. A bad side character is similar to a video game NPC, there, but completely unimportant. This happens because writers get hung up on a character's looks or personality first. This appearance-first approach creates weak characters and clogs your story with unnecessary scenes and interactions. Instead, we're going to create side characters with purpose using a simple framework. This framework has 3 core elements: function, role, and relationship. The function refers to what actions a character takes in the story. The role refers to how important those actions are to the overall plot, and the relationship establishes how they are connected to the main character. Creating characters this way guarantees that they add to the plot and strips the fat off your story. Now let's go into each step in detail. Step number 1. Determine their function. Ask yourself, what actions does this character take in the story? Every side character needs a job to move the plot forward. They either do one of 3 things. They can assist, meaning they actively help the hero or villain achieve their goals, providing resources, knowledge, emotional support, or physical aid, or they deter. These characters create obstacles for the hero or villain, slowing them down, challenging them, or forcing them to rethink their plans, or they shape the environment. These characters influence the world around the hero or villain, forcing them to react or adapt to new circumstances. If you're creating a side character that assists, answer these questions. What specific task do they help the hero or villain complete? Do they give advice, tools, or training? Are they willing helpers, or do they have ulterior motives? How does their assistance change the situation? Could the hero or villain succeed without them? Why or why not? Is their help direct, like fighting alongside the hero, or indirect, like giving information? Does their help come at a cost? If so, what is it? Do they ever hesitate to help? If so, why? How does their help reflect their own values or beliefs? What happens if they fail to assist? If your side character is meant to deter the hero or villain, answer these questions. What obstacle does this character create for the hero or villain? Is their interference accidental or intentional? Do they act out of fear, jealousy, misunderstanding, or malice? How does their interference test the hero or villain's abilities or resolve? Can the hero or villain overcome this obstacle easily, or does it take effort? Does this character represent a larger problem in the story, like society or authority? Would the hero or villain grow weaker or stronger because of this conflict? Does this character eventually become an ally, or do they stay an opponent? What would happen if the hero or villain avoided this obstacle entirely? How does this obstacle push the story toward its climax? Lastly, if your side character changes the environment in your story, answer these questions. How does this character change the world or setting of the story? Do they control resources, rules, or other people that impact the hero or villain? Are they aware of how their actions affect others, or are they oblivious? Does their influence last throughout the entire story, or is it temporary? How does the hero or villain respond to the changes caused by this character? Could the hero or villain ignore these changes, or must they deal with them? Does this character represent a theme or idea in the story, like justice, greed, or hope? What message does their influence send to the audience? How does their presence highlight the hero's or villain's strengths or weaknesses? What would the story lose if this character didn't exist? Step number 2, choose a role. Once you've figured out what your side character does, think about how much they matter to the story. Not every side character needs to be critical to the plot. Some exist just to fill out the world, but knowing their level of importance helps you prioritize where they show up in the plot. Here's how to categorize their role. First are the side characters that are crucial. These characters are essential to the story. Without them, major events wouldn't happen, or the plot would collapse. If the character is crucial to the story, answer these questions. What pivotal moment depends on this character? What unique skill, knowledge, or trait do they bring to the table? How does their absence or failure impact the story? Next are side characters that are somewhat important. These characters contribute to the story, but aren't irreplaceable. Their actions ripple through the plot, but the story could continue without them. If the character is somewhat important, answer these questions. What smaller moments depend on this character? How do they complement the hero or villain's journey? What would the story lose if they were removed? Next are side characters that are neutral. These characters don't help or hurt the hero or villain. They're part of the background, filling out the world, or providing minor interactions. If the character has a neutral role, answer these questions. How do they add realism or depth to the setting? Do they have the potential to become more important later? And lastly, are side characters that are not important. These characters are extras. They don't speak, interact meaningfully, or influence the plot. They're just there to populate the world. If a character isn't important to the plot, answer these questions. Do they enhance the atmosphere of a scene? Do they serve any symbolic purpose? Step number 3, determine their relationship. Now that we know what actions our side characters will take and how important they are to the story, we need to connect our side characters to the main characters through a relationship. Your side character can fall under one of the following relationships: peers, rivals, enemies, best friends, acquaintances, elders, mentors, family, father figures, mother figures, lovers, community leaders, role models, and redeemed foes. If you haven't already, watch my previous video on the 15 relationships that your MC needs for more detail. The link will be in the description. Now, let's use the framework on a real-life example. We'll look at Bon Clay, a popular side character from One Piece. First, his function. Initially, his function is to deter the hero, Luffy and the Straw Hats, as an antagonist. Later, during the Impel Down and Marineford arcs, his primary function shifts to profoundly assist the hero, Luffy, in escaping prison and reaching Marineford to save Ace. He also actively shapes the environment by creating crucial diversions, disguises, and opportunities that directly change the immediate circumstances and enable Luffy's progression through otherwise insurmountable obstacles. Next, his role. Early in One Piece, Bon Clay is somewhat important as an obstacle. However, his importance skyrockets to crucial during the Impel Down and Marineford arcs. Without his courageous sacrifice to hold open the gates of justice and allow Luffy's escape from Impel Down, the entire Marineford arc, where Luffy attempts to save Ace, would have been completely impossible, effectively halting a major saga of the story. This is a prime example of how a seemingly negligible character can become a critical, indispensable plot twist. Lastly, his relationship. Bon Clay's relationship with Luffy evolves dramatically. He begins as an enemy, a high-ranking Baroque Works agent actively opposing Luffy. Their initial bond forms during a shared moment in Alabasta, leading to a surprising shift. By the Impel Down and Marineford arcs, he has become a redeemed foe, sacrificing himself for Luffy, and even more profoundly, a best friend, embodying unwavering loyalty to a degree rarely seen, even from the Straw Hats themselves. As you can see, side characters don't have to be stagnant. They can have multiple functions, and their function, role, or relationship can change throughout the plot. In conclusion, if you want to create the perfect side characters, use this 3-step framework. First, determine the function. What actions do they take in the story? Do they assist, deter, or shape the environment? Next, determine the role. How important are those actions to the plot? Are they crucial, somewhat important, neutral, or not important? Lastly, determine the relationship. How are they connected to the main characters? Are they a peer, mentor, rival, redeemed foe, or something else? If this video helped you create better side characters, please leave a like and comment below. Also, click the link in the description to join our Discord community, where you can share your ideas, improve your writing, and connect with fellow creators. Thanks for watching.